Okay, next order of business is Community Director Mark Segal is going to share some information about the Oakland Bay Marina.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I don't know, fourth or fifth time I think I've had this in front of you. So first and foremost, I'd really like to thank the members of the Shelton Yacht Club, the Port of Shelton, our attorney, John Collins, in working through this project in order to bring this to you tonight. There is some time sensitivity to this as the Port of Shelton has declared the marina surplus, and their intent was to have this wrapped up by the end of the year, and the potential that we may not have a marina at Oakland Bay would be a prospect after the first of the year. So I appreciate you working with us through this process. I'm bringing you tonight a lease agreement and a quitclaim reversionary of interest agreement with the Shelton Yacht Club. I'll start with the easy one first, and that's the quitclaim reversionary interest. As you remember, there were 17 parcels that were deeded to the Port of Shelton back in 1950, with the port declaring that those parcels surplus, essentially their operation surplus. Those deeds would revert back to the city of Shelton ownership. They are all tideland lots, not contiguous with uplands, and really present little value to the city of Shelton. In fact, most likely some liability risk and costs associated with bringing those back on in city ownership. So in order to, the original quitclaim deed allowed the port to assign those to the Shelton Yacht Club only. There was one entity they could assign these parcels to. So tonight, the quitclaim reversionary interest is with the Shelton Yacht Club to quitclaim those 17 parcels to them for their operations, future operations at Oakland Bay Marina. The other document I'm bringing to you today is the lease agreement for the rights-of-ways. There are 4 rights-of-ways within the tideline areas within the Shelton Marina or Oakland Bay Marina proper. There's Laurel Street, there's an alley, Spruce Street, and Pine Street. Per RCW, the state wants the city to consider public access, primarily with any rights-of-ways that abut or within bodies of water. So tonight we're bringing to you this lease that would promote public access in cooperation with the Shelton Yacht Club. If you will see, I think the issue that was most discussed was on page 3, paragraph 3, which is rent. And so going back and forth with the Yacht Club as well as the council and information that we received, originally public access was much broader than what was discussed here for the purpose of charging fees, I guess. And one of the things that came to light really is that the Port of Shelton currently charges fees for moorage at their guest dock. So it's one thing we didn't bring into account here. So we really clarified what would be free public access to those grounds and those operations down there at the Oakland Bay Marina, and then identified areas that the Shelton Yacht Club would be able to charge fees to help them maintain their infrastructure down there, because there's considerable amount of work that needs to be done now and in the future. And I think they have ambitious goals, as you saw in your last study session, on how they can improve that area and hopefully bring more tourism and provide more amenities to the public. So those fees would be on moorage facilities, launching sites, and the guest moorage.
Okay.
I guess if open for questions at this point. If you have
I'll
any.
take public comment first.
Okay.
Public comment.
We have Dave Mariano.
Welcome back, Dave.
Yes. Dave Mariano, and
Well, I live just outside the county. Outside the county. We're pretty active here in the community within Shelton. I just wanted to thank Mayor Rogers and the council for giving us a moment to come up and explain to you how important this is to us, not only to the club, but the community as a whole. All the members of the Shelton Yacht Club are in some form or other a member of the community here in Shelton. And the Ports Marina has been a fixture in the community for some 70 years now. And just the club in itself has run and has operated the marina for some 35 to 40 years of that lifespan. And just in regards to the right-of-way agreement itself, I mean, really we look at that as really a partnership with the city to deliver what we hope is a great improvement down at the marina site. We really do want to see it be develop into a must-see, must-use facility. We want to make the Oakland Bay Marina to have its own chapter in the city's comp plan. We want to see it supplement key community goals for tourism, recreation, jobs, all that kind of thing. But it just requires a close partnership with the city in order to realize that, and part of that is embodied in the right-of-way agreement. A lot of the things we're talking about here are also highlighted in the Shoreline Master Development Plan, so there are already priorities that are already set in place, so we're trying to carry them forward. Anyway, we have worked at great length with city staff and the port to develop something that promotes public access and allows us the tools to, I guess, manage that and charge reasonable, appropriate fees. Again, not only Mark mentioned the guest dock and what the port would do here, but Port of Greatview just installed a new boat launch in that area as well, and there's a whole rate structure that goes with that. So we're just trying to be what's normal and customary in that area. But other than that, I just encourage you to consider favorably, and I look forward to working with all of you as we develop it into something that's we can all be proud of.
Thank you, Dave. That's it? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move to authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city the quitclaim of reversionary interest for the 17 tideland parcels and the lease agreement for the right-of-way use with the Shelton Yacht Club for Oakland Bay Marina.
Second.
Okay. Additional or questions, comments for staff?
I just wrote down, again, I'm in favor of the Shelton Yacht Club.
I have worked on a lot of boats down at the yacht club. Mr. Burns is over here. Big fan of the yacht club. I go back as far as like Danny Davidson and Ray Orr. And I've worked on a lot of boats. I used to lay carpet. So I'm a big fan of the yacht club.
There you go.
Seems to be a common theme.
Couple fans here.
I would just like to thank the yacht club and city staff for being able to carry forward council's hope to maintain and better public access and still create something that's going to provide an opportunity here in the community. So it was really nice to see this all so neatly packaged for tonight's meeting, and I'm glad to see we're able to move this forward.
And question for Mark, maybe for John. The allowance of fees is great, and the yacht club, that meets their need for their financial plan, what's in the lease. They're all on board on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I could just kind of make a shout out, I guess, to Rob Johnson, who's the attorney for the yacht club. He's been really great to work with, and I think after the last study session, he was very accommodating and did a lot of work on this lease, and I think we came up with a definition of public access that I think both protects the city's interest in making sure that there is free public access, but that they're still able to charge fees for certain things. And so I think getting that compromise is really key. Briefly, we made a couple other small changes just in like the notice provision that basically say that they're going to work with the city to kind of provide us notice on goings on if they decide to update public access. And then we changed a little bit in the assignment provision, which basically says that somewhere down the line, if they try to assign the lease to someone else that maybe the city's not comfortable with, that the city essentially can have an option to. But other than that, those are the only changes that we made from the last study session. But overall, yeah, the Yacht Club's been great to work with. They've been very accommodating, and I think it is a good sign of a ongoing partnership that will hopefully last for the length of the 99-year lease.
Okay, thank you, John. Anybody else have anything? Okay. I want to thank staff, John, and the Yacht Club for working through this. It's went through quickly when we thought we might have some issues, so thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Excuse me. Have a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city the quitclaim deed of reversionary interest for the 17 tideland parcels and the lease agreement for right-of-way use with the Shelton Yacht Club for Oakland Bay Marina. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thanks again, John, and Rob, and everyone else who was involved.
I'm gonna clap, Bob. You're not supposed to, but I'm going.
You're out of order.
I know, out of order, I know.